Always fresh, Jason. Always
Always with the
fresh. My
bait.
follicles is real nice and strong.
Mhm.
Really, my cough is on point today. But we're gonna talk about scandals today, right? As one of your favorite topics, Jason. You love
Love
you
a
a
good
good scandal,
scandal.
don't you?
Yeah.
All right. So as we count down with 4 days left in December, 4 days left in the year of 2023. The Green Market Report's Deborah Borchardt looked back on the top scandals she and the GMR team says rocks the cannabis industry in 2023. And go through these and add in a couple of honorable mentions for myself and open it up to the team. See what you guys think about the list and see if you guys have anything to add to this one. All right. So number one, bankruptcies are never pleasant, but this one's a doozy. Not only was Skymint, big retail firm, Skymint drowning in a sea of debt, but the CEO was accused of having an inappropriate relationship with another executive, spending company funds on that woman. Since it's cannabis, the company couldn't go through normal bankruptcy channels, so the lenders agreed to a reorganization. The only problem is that 315 Cannabis, a Merida Capital Holdings company, caught up in the craziness after Skymint said it would buy the company but never paid for it. 315 asked the judge to let them out of the deal, but the judge disagreed. On appeal, 315 is trying to get its company back, while Skymint's lenders are preparing to take over the company. Herbal. We're no strangers to herbal and the whole herbal fallout here in California. It wasn't an earthquake that shook California cannabis. It was the implosion of herbal. The cannabis distributor was rumored to have faced issues of companies not paying their bills, which made it impossible for the company to keep running. Laid off employees took to social media to announce that the company would not, what the company would not do themselves. They let everybody know that they were shutting down. With bankruptcy not an option, the company went into receivership and it left many cannabis companies in the state scrambling to find a new distributor for their products. Plus, many of these small cannabis companies just lost inventory in the process and weren't paid for it. Now it seems everybody is fighting over the scraps. Cannabis companies, a bank, and even the state of California want money from Herbal. Rest in peace. Weedgenics. In May, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission obtained an emergency order to halt alleged ongoing offering and Ponzi scheme like Integrated National Resources Incorporated, what does business as Weedgenics, and its founder, Rolf Max Hirschman and Patrick Earl Williams. Under the scheme, allegedly raised more than $60 million from investors to expand their cannabis operations, but instead used the money to make $16.2 million in Ponzi-like payments and to enrich themselves. The scam started in 2019, but the SEC didn't shut it down until 2023. The agency alleged that in an attempt to avoid detection, Hirschman, acting as the face of the company, used the fake name Max Bergman when he communicated with investors, while Williams, as vice president of the company, worked behind the scenes. Williams was also accused of spending investor funds on his more public career as a rap musician. Big Rig Baby. Did you download that one, Jason? The oil man cometh. So,
Little Max, little
high
Maxwell.
times. You're right. Longtime cannabis publication High Times and its current owner, Adam Levin, found themselves in the subject of a stock fraud investigation for seemingly never-ending stock offering. We've all heard of that $420 offering that High Times dropped, not one, not two, but 10 years ago. Levin originally bought the title with the idea of taking it public and flipping the stock for a profit. However, things didn't go according to plan, and Levin just kept taking money from investors and changing the value of the stock from $11 to $1. The company ran afoul of the SEC for paying a stock promoter and not disclosing that to investors. Investors have complained that the magazine took their money and then never provided any additional information or updates. Y'all got finessed. Benzinga's AI interview. So this one's funny. Who's going to know, right? In November, business news website Benzinga ran a contributed interview with the rap star and Cookies founder, Berner, whose real name is Gilbert Milam. The only problem was Berner said that he did not do the interview. Journalist Grant Smith Ellis suggested the interview was AI generated and ran it through an AI content detector. David Daxon, the contributor, insisted he did the interview, even though Berner insisted he never talked to Daxon. Ultimately, Benzinga pulled the story after 2 days, apologized to Berner, and ended the relationship with the writer. It could be argued Benzinga was scammed by the contributor, but That's what editors are for, and the media company's slow response did not help matters by allowing it to grow legs. Maybe Berner was interviewed by an AI journalist. I don't know. I want to hear more about that. I want to know the details. Cookies, again, managed to make the list twice this year, but in two different capacities. This time, Cookies was hit with multiple breach of contract lawsuits. One was from business partner alleging theft and fraud, while the other lawsuits allege Cookies routinely used threats of violence and retribution in business dealings. Among the allegations was that Berner and Associates stole valuable cannabis genetics as well as profits from Seed Junkie through a joint business venture, Mint, and that Berner and his company officials have been misappropriating company funds and resources for their own private slush funds. Berner said the complaints were made by predatory investors, and shortly thereafter, one lawsuit was dropped. As far as we can tell, the other lawsuit is still in play. Then finally, they have the Massachusetts Commission of Cannabis Companies, and operators weren't the only ones finding themselves in headlines of less than positive reasons. The regulators got in on the fun. The Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission found itself in more hot water this year after the state treasurer suspended chair Shannon O'Brien, and she's now suing the CCC over that suspension. That's not all. If you guys have tuned into the show, you know a lot about this story. Acting Executive Director Debbie Hilden Creek then suspended Chief Communications Officer Cedric Sinclair and Director of Human Resources Justin Schrader in December. The shenanigans did not stop with the shuffle there. There were claims of retaliation against independent journalist Grant Smith Ellis when commission officials allegedly cited the content of this journalist's testimony before the Joint Committee on Cannabis Policy as part of the justification for stripping the journalists of their press credentials. If that wasn't enough, the commission also allegedly shared a document containing the names, addresses, phone numbers, emails, and other sensitive personal information of every cannabis worker, active or inactive, in Massachusetts. The commission was criticized from the beginning for having an opaque and lengthy process to receiving a license, and the whole commission might just need a reboot after O'Brien apparently didn't get the memo that you can't call Asian people yellow anymore. All right. Michigan bribery. So this is the scandal we talked a little bit about yesterday, too. Traced back to 2017 bribery case involving a top cannabis regulator in Michigan, and some lobbyists came in to a resolution this year. Back in April, Brian Pierce and Vincent Brown pleaded guilty to conspiring to commit bribery. According to their plea agreements, they did lobbying work via Philip Allen Brown Consulting and Michigan Growers Consultants on behalf of various businesses that sought licenses from a board that was created to regulate the industry under a 2016 law. So this is before everything went legal in Michigan. It was an ex-Republican Speaker of the House was doing the pay-for-play thing out in the open, acting like they ain't going to catch up to him. So they helped raise him $40,000 in cash to the former chair of the marijuana board, Rick Johnson, between 2017 and 2019. At Johnson's request, Pierce paid $2,000 to a Detroit stripper who was having commercial sex with Johnson. That's how he got caught. In October, Pierce was sentenced to 2 years and $25,000 fine from U.S. District Judge Jane Beckering in Grand Rapids, and Brown received 20 months and a $25,000 fine. He was sentenced to 55 months in federal prison. My two that I would like to add to this mix, obviously, what's going on at Stizzy right now. It's kind of a big deal. And then the other one that I would like to add to the mix there is, and I have no idea how they missed this one, the whole Lorna McDaniel's story, the first official death in cannabis attributed to Trulieve. I know a lot of folks were trying not to touch this story because Trulieve was just follow the money, folks, just follow the money. But we covered it thoroughly. Leafly did for a moment of time before that story was scrapped and pulled from the internet in its entirety. And then big ups to everybody else who helped this young woman and celebrate her life, and then also get out into the open when media was obviously being suppressed around this one. I hope the family gets some peace from this, and I hope that we have not heard the last of the Lorna McMurray, excuse me, I said McDaniels earlier, Lorna McMurray story. But those are my two honorable mentions there. I'd love to hear from the rest of the team. What do you guys think about these, the list of Green Market Report's scandals, and you guys have any more to add to the list? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street. Happy second day of Kwanzaa, y'all. I have to look and see which day it is because I forgot to check this.
I bet you did.
That high time story cracks me up.
Yes.
I need some clarity on something.
I'll go for it.
Define commercial sex for me.
Commercial sex? It's when you have sex in a commercial
Oh, well, that's
building.
easy. Like when you used to have private.
Like industrial side?
Yes.
It lasts
Used to have private sex.
It's like pay-per-view. Technically,
got a card swiper in your purse.
Technically, OnlyFans could be considered.
15 seconds.
Couldn't OnlyFans be considered commercial sex?
It's sex work, I think, but it's not commercial sex because it's on a computer.
Oh man.
There's lots of Detroit officials got caught up this year.
Yeah, we still haven't found out what's up with that $40 million.
We still have not. There's lots of. Was that this year? Or was that last?
That was this year.
Like at the end of last year. That's this year too.
I mean, it feels like it was about a year.
There's a lot of shit that went down in Michigan, man.
Yeah,
Michigan was wilding.
Yeah, but I think overall,
I don't know. For me, you guys, like, sorry, there's so many major stories this year, and at the same time, it's like I just have to shake my head because as an emerging industry, we're obviously going to trip and fall a lot. Right? We're going to make big mistakes, and some of us are going to fall much bigger and harder than others. But like, there's a lot of media that we generate that is just, it's defeating the hard work that so many people are doing. It's like counterproductive. And we need to be really mindful as business operators with the decisions that we're making, that they're not just decisions for today, that they're long-term play decisions, because we're literally paving the way for future generations to come behind us. So go slow and steady. There's no fast forward when you're building something.
That's right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, on the public company side, I'm actually shocked. I have not kept up with High Times in years. They've kind of fallen off the map as a reputable publication in cannabis. But I actually remember meeting Adam right after they bought High Times in 2017. I think it was the Lowe's on Hollywood Boulevard. We were there for an arc view, and I was working at Mass Roots, and we put $100K into their offering. And we had talked to them about some kind of merger or other deal, and they just kept basically diluting the shit out of their stock, issuing more and more stock. I cannot believe that we're almost 8 years later, and they're still doing that, because that must have been January or February of 2017. So, I don't know anything about the internal details, so I'm not going to comment on whether the SEC's case has any grounds to it or not. But I'm just shocked that they're still issuing stock.
I think out of all these, I think out of all these scandals, I think the herbal was the biggest scandal of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost, it's not a scandal so much as just a result of the terrible supply chain cash flow issues.
I feel like it really affected so many people in the industry. I think that like it had such a wide cast net of who it affected, and I think that probably affected more people than any of the other scandals this year.
Yeah, that probably was the most impactful, but probably not the most scandalous.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good point, Luke.
I can get behind that statement. Definitely most impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very impactful.
That Stizzy story is pretty scandalous.
Yeah,
that one's still brewing. That one's still brewing.
Not just California, because there's plenty of people outside of California that get those California products too, and I'm sure that their menus were short after herbal.
Oh boy!
I mean, I can get Stizzy carts down at the gas station here in Austin.
Oh man, we're gonna go to a commercial. We're gonna be right back.